If you work in the bridal hair and makeup industry, you're definitely going to want to watch this video. Hey guys, what's up? It is Shannon and welcome back to my channel. If you happen to be new here, I'm a licensed esthetician and freelance makeup artist based out of Los Angeles, obsessed with all things makeup and makeup artist related. So if you enjoy those kind of videos, then definitely don't forget to hit that subscribe button. When I initially sat down with Sarah, I had 1.5 million questions, and so this video is basically a compilation of all of the questions and answers that she graciously gave me. If you want to follow along, I'm going to be linking a timeline in the description box below so you can basically see what questions she answers when. Let's get into it. There are just so many things that we can talk about.
I know.
Bridal makeup artistry.
I know.
Yeah, and I don't know anything. Everything you're saying, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess you would need to know how to do that. What about trials?
So there's always a pathway that for most bridal artists we follow. There's the initial inquiry that comes through. Then typically you set up some kind of an initial contact, whether that's through your email or a phone call.
Okay.
And then from there, there's a preview or trial that is scheduled generally.
Preview, that's such a better name for it.
Yes, that's the term I use. And the reason for that is because the word trial implies, I associate it with a courtroom. That's what I think of it as if I'm on trial. It puts a lot of pressure on us as the artist of performing perfectly.
Wow.
As opposed to you have to trust your artistry and you have to believe in yourself, because otherwise that comparison will come in and it will destroy you.
Interesting.
So calling it a preview, I think, puts it as it's just a softer language, and I feel like the association makes it easier to handle. So the preview, and then following that, there should be, if our bridal artists aren't doing this, you should absolutely have some kind of a retainer. That's a payment that the bride must pay, and it should be a good chunk. It should be not $50 or $100. It should be a good chunk for her to reserve her wedding date, and along with an agreement that is signed on both ends. And then from there you put the beauty prep schedule for the wedding day, and then you just maintain touch with her until wedding day comes around.
Do you recommend, if you want to get into the bridal makeup artist, assisting a bridal makeup artist first?
I do recommend that.
Okay. Or interning maybe?
It doesn't quite exist.
Interesting.
It's I haven't heard of that. And when I first started, I did reach out to other artists, and I either got zero response back or I was told flat out no. So
what?
Yes.
Wow.
Now, at the time, I had no work in my portfolio.
Okay.
I had nothing to demonstrate for myself. So that might have been why I was told no. But, and they were never rude about it. It was always just, I'm not looking for that right now or something like that. So yes, I do recommend it. I would recommend making sure that you have work that would match with that particular artist that you want to work with. And then also be honest and say, I'm learning and I want to be doing what you're doing, and I would love to help out. And I also think it's important to go in with the expectation that you probably won't get paid.
Okay.
I think that's a big one.
Okay.
And
until you can prove that you can keep up.
Yeah.
What do you look for in someone that you would bring on as an assistant? What are valuable qualities for you? Do you even hire assistants, or do you need someone that's on your level?
So in the bridal industry, assisting looks very, very different than I think the other makeup artist world. Assisting looks like two things. It looks like either you are an assistant artist, you've been hired by the lead to come and do other makeup, and I feel like that's probably similar to film too, right? Or you're there to just do menial tasks. You're cleaning brushes, you're making sure everybody is running on schedule on time. Maybe you're doing behind the scenes social media captures, but you're not actually doing any makeup application at all. Right. I have hired both. I don't really hire assistants that just sit there and clean brushes anymore. Actually, when I was first starting, because I was so much slower, I always gave myself more time than I typically needed. Right now, I allocate 45 minutes per service. In the past, I was doing an hour because I wasn't very fast. Yeah. So, as you can imagine, that adds a lot of time to your schedule. So.
Yeah.
So I would have, typically it was just either a friend, or I had this one gal that worked with me for a long time. She was so sweet. She was studying, she wanted to be a makeup artist. And so she would come to help the day go by smoother. A really important element in the bridal industry is that it's rare you're going to get a wedding where you can do all the services on your own, which is why it's so important to connect with other artists in your community. Because you will be needing to reach out to them for when they can join you on those wedding days, and vice versa, when you'll be able to join them. And over time, you'll find which people you love to work with because they have the same aesthetic as you, or you just really get along really well. And that's really important. The people that I choose to work with as that are joining me as an assistant artist, I always check to make sure that they can create natural makeup looks in the way that matches my aesthetic and my brand. And I've been able to see and maybe even hear from other people that they are reliable. They're not going to show up late. They're not going to show up with dirty brushes. That's important. And that they're professional. They're not going to be sitting there gabbing and gossiping about things while they're working with other clients.
How close to the wedding day do you find an additional?
As soon as the bride books me.
Really?
I start reaching out because generally these other artists have their own businesses too, and they book out. So it's important to secure those people that you want to work with the most, because the other important facet to that is you want to be providing your brides the same good quality service you would be providing them.
Right.
And typically, if you wait till the last minute to try and find somebody, all of the well-qualified artists will already be booked. And so you'll have to probably find somebody that's maybe new and learning. And not that that's a bad thing. It's just they might not be as fast. They might not be able to finish everybody in the time frame that you've established. Yeah. Or maybe there's something that comes up. There's maybe somebody's really unhappy with their makeup look, and because they're learning, like, that's a challenging thing to navigate. You want to make sure that everybody there is going to be able to handle those tough situations as you would.
When you're first starting out, I know.
It's very expensive.
It's so expensive.
It's a lot to choose from.
Yes. And exactly. Like, what do you recommend for beginner makeup artists trying to just figure out what products they're going to need? I love just getting samples from places, or meeting and talking to other artists that you admire. Just as you might have your own aesthetic that you love, there's going to be other artists that have that exact same aesthetic, and paying attention to the products that they are using and getting samples of those things and trying out what you like and don't like. Practicing on others is far more beneficial than practicing on yourself, because it's so much different. The way you hold your brush, all the way down to that, is going to be completely different. Matching different skin tones, practicing that a lot. And the more you practice, the faster you will be. With bridal artistry, speed is the name of the game. You have to be fast, but also composed. Not fast and sloppy. Right. How often do you get hired for only makeup or only hair?
Well, that's a new thing for me. I just started offering hair services this year. Okay. So this was kind of my my learning / trial year of doing that. So I still do get hired more for makeup than hair. Okay. Within the bridal industry, because we do book out as often as a year to a year and a half out, everything that we do now will not pay off until many months later. Okay. So next year I have a lot of hair that I've booked, both with the bride, hair and makeup for the bride. So it's hard to like it.
And then how early do you do the preview?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. So that's another thing that's different from person to person. It's something that might even be changing in my own business very soon. Okay. But I do not reserve a wedding date, and I think this should be a general practice for every bridal artist out there. I do not reserve a wedding date without a signed agreement and a retainer. Okay. So with that being said, brides often want to begin with a preview to first of all make sure we are a good fit, make sure they like the hair and makeup look that is created for them. So the preview is scheduled, honestly, either before they submit that or after. If they choose to book the wedding before they want to do their preview, then I will schedule their preview a month before the wedding.
Wow.
But if they want to start with a preview, then it's like my weddings are booked on first come, first served basis. So it's like,
wow.
You got to book the preview early.
Yeah. Well, and it's crazy too, because like if you're doing a preview for someone and then you have like so much time before their wedding, you know, like, and you're taking like trial pictures and like, I mean, you're going to have a year's worth of...
Well, and that's why I'm probably going to be changed. So up to the last 3 years, the way I've done it is you can book your preview before you actually, which I understand. Like, they're like, I want to test this out before I actually book you. That's what I would have done as a bride too.
Yeah.
But I have gotten to a point now in my career where it's like, if you don't like something, I can fix it, especially with my brides, you know?
Yeah.
So what I'm going to be doing, probably, I don't know, it might change. I am going to require that, no, we have to book it, and we'll do your preview a month before your wedding. Because I had, like, this year in particular, this was the first year where I booked brides a year and a half out, and I will never do that ever again. Because my kit is completely different.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
even though I take lots of notes after each preview session so that I know exactly what to do next time, even then, even with the photos, it's like, gosh, like, do I remember how I did this?
Right,
because that's a really long time.
That's a really long time.
That's half of the time I've been in business.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I just don't like doing it that far out. And I've talked to other artists, friends of mine, that they're far more established than me, and that is what they do.
Okay.
So I feel like I've hit that point in my business where I can do that.
So obviously there's a lot of confidence growth that happens, and I feel like, I don't know if this is the same thing for you, but like when I first started, I was like, nothing can touch me, I am the best, like I know everything there is to know about makeup artistry. And then the more that you learn about makeup artistry, the more you realize that you do not know anything about makeup artistry too. So what did that journey look like for you? Because I do think you need a little bit of like dumb confidence to like start, but at the same time you have to be like realistic with that. So what was that transition? Because you've been open for 3 years now. How have you grown, and how has your business grown since you started?
Yeah, I agree. Like, the ignorance is bliss is so true when you first start out. So hang on to that for sure. But I think that it's I still struggle with so much insecurity in my own hair and makeup artistry. There are so many times I freak out inside right before I turn the mirror around for a bride to look at her hair and makeup look. I internally think, is she going to like it? And then I am over-analyzing every single facial expression that she is having. I'm like, oops, she doesn't like, that eyebrow raise, I don't know. Like, it is always with us. And I think that over time, you just begin to accept those feelings and learn that we are always going to be extra critical of our work. And just learning that it's a learning experience always. We have never made it. But yes, in the beginning, I think that we can come out not knowing how hard it can be, and because we don't have the tough experiences yet. And so it can feel like, I can do this, no problem, until you encounter a tough situation, and then it can really knock you off your horse. Right. So the importance is just keep going and keep going through those tough experiences. Any really highly established makeup artist out there has a bride that hasn't liked their work. She's had a client that was really unhappy with what happened. And it's not a reflection of her artistry necessarily. It's just about learning how to navigate.
Okay, my last question for you. Well, it's kind of a double question. So what does a typical week look like for you? And how much time are you working on your business as opposed to doing the actual wedding?
Oh, wow. Well,
hardest question for last.
Yeah.
I mean,
really.
Yeah.
Well, typically, so wedding season in Southern California is very different. It's technically year-round because we don't get snow, we have nice weather, so we can have outdoor weddings, indoor weddings year-round. Right. But generally, wedding season is from April until October, with October being the busiest month of the entire year, September and October. So on the weekends during those time frame, I'm typically doing weddings. Okay. Friday through Saturday is prime wedding booking days.
Okay.
the rest of the week, Monday through Thursday, I really do try to take Mondays off because especially if you've been working a 3-week wedding weekend, you are dead by the end. Yeah. Absolutely dead.
Right.
Even at the end of one wedding, I go and get in and out and I am going to take a nap.
Yeah.
Done.
For sure.
So I do try to take Mondays off, and then those other days, generally if I have like headshot clients or like filler work will happen then. But that's also when I'm doing a lot of business stuff, answering emails, scheduling phone consults with inquiries from brides, scheduling previews for them. Yeah, but every week is also different. Mm-hmm. There can be weeks where, truthfully, there's no work at all. We can go like I have one wedding in December this year. That's it. Okay. I'm a little scared, if I'm being honest. And so, like, it's typical. Like, you can go December through February with nothing. And so that's also why it's important to budget appropriately and prepare for those dry seasons. Yeah, that's the time to work on the business. For sure. As well. That's kind of what the place I'm in now is restructuring things, updating your website, updating your portfolio.
Also recapping on the whole year. Like what can I do next year to make it better and all of that too. Mm-hmm. Great. Mm-hmm. I can think of so many other topics within this realm that I still want to talk to you about. We want to know your questions too. So let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to check out Sarah on her Instagram and Facebook. Website? All the
Instagram
things?
Is where I post them. Everything on my Instagram goes to my Facebook. It's the same. So Instagram, best place. Beauty Bespoken.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. Well, thanks so much for hanging out.
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys, and that is it for us for this series. If you haven't had a chance to check out the other videos, I'm going to link them on the screen now. Definitely do so, and a huge thank you to Sarah for taking time out of her busy schedule to come talk to us about the industry. I mean, was this not the coolest thing ever? Please let her know if you enjoyed this series in the comment section below. As always, there are more tips and tricks on Facebook and Instagram at MakeupByShannonMarie. I hope you guys are having a great week, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye, guys.